Also here tonight, Bernard Kerik, former New York Police Commissioner. Commissioner, you hear those stories. You hear his story, his personal family story. You see that 9-year-old boy who went out to play outside of his house. His mother was in the bathroom. She gets a knock on the door. Her son's dead in the street. It's horrific to hear what is happening. It's not getting better. And you hear about that man we just spoke with, Andrew Holmes, who's figured out a way to build trust in the community so he can be working with the police, get leads, find the killer, hold criminals accountable. Your thoughts?
You know what, Sandra? Mr. Holmes is one of many people that are, they're real community leaders. They're real members of the community that can work with the police, that do work with the police. And we have that in New York. We have that in communities all over the country. This incident, especially with the 9-year-old child, it reminds me of New York City back in the 80s and early 90s, when mothers had to put their babies in bathtubs at night to put them to bed because they were afraid of random gunfire. We were the murder capital of the world before Giuliani came into office in 1994. And between 94 and 2002, we dropped the violent crime by 65% and homicide, murder by 70%. In the Black communities, that number dropped by 80%. It can be done, but you need the right leadership. You need the right mayors. You need people to understand you have to put resources into those communities. You have to put the police on notice to go out and do the job they were supposed to do and give them the resources, the training, and the equipment to do that job. And you will reduce crime, shootings, and murders. But in a lot of these communities, it's just not happening.
You look around the streets of New York, you don't recognize it. After being gone a couple months and locked down, and you come back, and I mean, it's scary. And we all just wonder if we get back to law and order and feeling safe on our streets again, and add to your list of what we need to do to support the police. Because you read these stories now in Chicago, a just recently promoted police chief just killed himself. Over the weekend, here in Queens, New York, a member of the New York Police Department killed himself. Suicide rate for the police department is up.
Well, the stress on the cops right now is beyond our comprehension. They are getting bashed by the press and the media. They're getting bashed by their own community leaders. They're getting bashed by the mayors and the governors. We have a mayor in New York City that painted a Black Lives mural in front of Trump Tower supporting a group, a domestic terror group that has called for the assassinations of New York City cops. You know what? They have a lot to worry about, but they can do the job when it has to be done, but they need the right leadership in power to do that. And they have the wrong leader for sure in New York City. They need a new mayor.
Well, and we didn't even start talking about Minneapolis, where now, residents there say that they call the police. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. The police even issuing warnings to residents there. Don't walk around with a cell phone. Don't walk around with cash. Don't fight back if you're approached. I mean, it's.
Yeah, you know what, Sandra? That letter. I think every member of every community like this that's run by a Democrat in this country, they need to look at that letter, because that's going to be your community. You're going to be told the same thing. That's going to be the Democrat manifesto for these communities that are lawless and there's complete disorder.
It's tough for us to hear that. I appreciate you coming on, Bernard. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Tropical